Did you hear this? Ever since they finished Final Fantasy 13 and they're making Versus 13, Square Enix is making this undisclosed Final Fantasy project. And there are these rumors swarming around that it's either a remake of Final Fantasy 7 or a sequel to Final Fantasy 8. Why? Why would you make a sequel to Final Fantasy 8? I've been thinking about this for a week. And you guys tell me if you have any idea about this. I couldn't think of a single thing that would be in that game. Final Fantasy 8 is over. There was an ending. It was all wrapped up at the end. What could possibly be in a sequel? I can't even think of anything as a joke. How miserably boring would that game be? Now, don't get me wrong. I love Final Fantasy 8, but why? What could happen? What? Another sorcerer shows up? I mean, what? Why? I'm not a man who likes sequels. Unless it's planned in the story, it's just phony and a bid to make money. But for some reason, Square Enix and Squaresoft have been very eager to make hundreds and hundreds of sequels to games that don't need them. Stories have a beginning and they have an end. And when stories end, they shouldn't keep going unless you actually have something to put in there. Think about the ending of Final Fantasy VIII. The sorceress is dead, Squall and Rinoa are together, they kiss, and then they fade off into the moonlight. It's over. Anything else is just redundant. There are a lot of Final Fantasy fans who are really excited about even the idea of a sequel, or worse, a prequel to Final Fantasy VIII or any game like that. I don't understand this. I understand this as nostalgia. You liked Final Fantasy VIII. You loved Final Fantasy VII. You wanna experience it again. But why don't you just play the game again? I mean, why make it worse? Why add to it? One of the strengths that Final Fantasy has is the ability to make new games. Every good Final Fantasy was a completely new adventure. Final Fantasy 3 was different than Final Fantasy 4. Final Fantasy 4, different than Final Fantasy 5. Final Fantasy 6, completely new story. Final Fantasy 7, completely new story. 8, completely new story. And it kept going like that. Now let's check out the track records of the sequels. Final Fantasy 2. They made a sequel to that game called Souls of Rebirth. Well, you get to play as the 4 characters who died in that game. And they go on an adventure. You want to play that? You saw how uninteresting they were when they were alive. Why? Final Fantasy 4. There's a sequel. The After Years. Why? The game ended. Cecil became king. Sorry for giving it away. It's over. It's over. Final Fantasy 5. There was a sequel. An anime called Legend of the Crystals. One-word review. Nothing happened. Nothing. They had to put it 200 years in the future. And people think, oh, that's okay if it's in the same universe, but you put it in the future. Just make a new game. Please. Please. Final Fantasy 7. The game ended. You didn't have to make a sequel. And then to make one sequel, they made 2. And what happened then? Nothing! Nothing happened! I remember going to the video game store and seeing this on the shelf and going, to the series, I gotta buy it! And I bought it. I spent $50 on this. I took one look at this case.
Midgar died. Something survived.
I'm ready. What happened? Shinra came back. They started making zombies. And you get to shoot the zombies in the most stock shooter ever made. Why? Advent Children. Sephiroth comes back. Why? If you're going to make a sequel to a game where the game had a story, it had themes, it had a point, your sequel better have a point. You can't just bring all the characters back and expect it to be good. Expect people to like it. You can expect people to buy it, but you won't expect people to like it. Final Fantasy X. Excellent game. They made a sequel to that. Final Fantasy XI. Hundreds of expansion packs. Added nothing. Final Fantasy XII. A game with practically no story. They made a sequel. Revenant Wings. How good do you think that game was? What's the old saying? Leave on a high note, have them come back wanting more? Please follow that advice, Square Enix. Please. I mean, is this company so bereft of ideas that they have nothing? They're just going to make more sequels? They can't make anything new that's good? So they're just going to go back and make the same stuff again and make it suck? I mean, why? Playing an RPG takes a lot of time. If I'm going to spend 60 hours playing a game, I don't want to be bored to death. Don't you guys understand that? Why do you think you can get away with making a game that's completely bereft of a plot and it's just nothing but side quests? I think it's telling about a company that spends 4 years, the longest time ever on any Final Fantasy game, to make a new one. They call it Final Fantasy 13. And their first idea is to create a world where they can make a sequel. Where is the love in creating new worlds? Where is my old Final Fantasy? This just gets me depressed. Final Fantasy VIII is a pretty controversial game. You either love that game or you hate that game. What's a sequel gonna do? What baffles me is that I don't understand why anyone would want to play that game. Yet I see comments everywhere. Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be so cool if there was a sequel to Final Fantasy VIII. Think about it. Please think about this. What are you gonna do in Final Fantasy VIII, the sequel? Talk to Zell's mom? Go fishing with Cypher? Get a new Gunblade? Run Timber Maniacs? Oh, I know. Squall becomes headmaster, and nothing happens. Squall and Noah have a baby! How does that play out? Is there a mini-game?
I know. Squall and Renoa have a hot and passionate but very brief relationship. But then Renoa breaks up with Squall because Squall's too much of an asshole and Cypher was better in bed.
Laguna and Squall get back together and they become friends. This is gonna be a triple triad tournament! You'll get to see Biggs and Wedge again. Because you chuckled when you saw them. They'll come back. See? They'll be there. Isn't that cool? I can't wait to play this game! You get to help Selfie pimp her new YouTube page. Kisses goes back to teaching. Irvine finally gets a girlfriend. Fujin learns to say more than one word. Zell becomes allergic to hot dogs. Nord will come back as an ancillary boss. Wait, he died? No, he didn't die. Of course he didn't die. They'll make something up for that. Maybe Selfie will become a pop star. You know, that would make more sense. You know, it always made me wonder, at the end of these Final Fantasy games, what do the characters do with all the weapons and, like, the airship? Do they, like, leave it in front of their house or something? I mean, but wait, you say, they could still make a Final Fantasy VIII prequel. Final Fantasy VIII, the war against the sorceress. A crack team of Galbadian soldiers has to fight against the most evil sorceress of all time, Adele of Ishtar. One man is chosen who is not ready to fight, Laguna, and he must lead the rebellion. Oh god, I just gave them an idea. You might think that sounds cool. Here's why it's not. You saw all the relevant information already. What else can happen? Remember all those flashbacks with Laguna? Why would you want to play through it again? That's just like Crisis Core and Last Order. I liked Crisis Core. It was okay. And Last Order had good cinematography, if you can say that about an animated movie. But they were completely pointless. You know what happens. Anything that was good about Crisis Core was the stuff you recognized already, not the new shit they added, like more Turks and Angeal and whatever. I mean, yeah, Zack picking up an umbrella was funny, but come on. You know, there's only 2 Final Fantasy games I think that could actually have a sequel. One is Chrono Trigger. Oh wait, it did have a sequel, and it was good. Now, Chrono Trigger can have a sequel because it's basically a concept game. You go back and forwards in time and stop stuff. That can happen again. The other one is Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy VI kinda ended weirdly. You kill Kefka, but the world is still completely destroyed. People are starting to revive. Cities are being rebuilt. In that kind of world, stuff can happen. You understand what I mean? You gotta pick things where there's a potential to have a new story. Let's see, they haven't made a Final Fantasy IX sequel yet. What could happen in a Final Fantasy IX sequel? Maybe Garnet will marry Sedaine, and she'll join the play troupe. You see how bad it is when you try to continue stories that are done? Square Enix, please. You have somebody there capable of writing a good story. Please make something new. When you make Final Fantasy 15, I want a damn good story. Leave the sequels to the fanfic writers. At least that way they can't hurt anybody.
Stop the nonsense.
On second thought, with the sequel, we might actually learn what the hell Phthos Lusek Wigos Vinosek is.